sea sucker soup on a hot summer day. Coffee comes back in a nerve-wracking way. The dishes and laundry take the garbage out. What a day, what a day, what a day.
Well, welcome to Capital Region Today. We're so happy that you're joining us today. We've got a great lineup. As always, there's so much going on in our communities, and we have so many events coming up and also so many good people doing good things. So that's what we try and do on this show, is to at least bring those people to you so that you know what's happening. Perhaps you'd like to join them, either join the organization or join them in one of their activities. That would be great. But we're going to tell you who's coming on this show. We're going to be talking about Harbinger Theater and the Sand Lake Center for the Arts. They're doing a play called At the Wedding, so we're going to hear about that. And also, they may even tell us a little bit about what's going on for that wonderful Capital Region Theater for the Arts, right? I think we might talk about that. Also, we're going to be talking about Alpha-1. If you've never heard of that, it's a condition, and Richard Loveridge will tell us all about that. He just came back from a big a meeting in Portugal, so it's an international issue that people are dealing with, and he's got some exciting news to tell us as well. We're also going to be talking about spina bifida, which is a condition that happens at birth, during gestation, and we'll learn a little bit about this, but they're going to be talking about their adaptive basketball clinic that's coming up as well, along with some other meetings that are coming up too, and we'll find out what spina bifida is. We're also going to be talking about Jewels of the Sea, and if you're not familiar with these beautiful shells, we have a gentleman who is a naturalist and is also an expert in this. He has a museum in the area, and we're going to be talking about that as well. Perhaps it's something you'd like to check out during the summer. If you're looking for something to do with your kids, they might find this quite interesting. We're going to start out with our first guest, and our first guests are Chris Foster, and he is involved with, he's a director, and he also does a lot of other stuff. And with him, he's brought Megan Ryan, who's an actor as well. So we're going to be talking about At the Wedding. What is At the Wedding?
So, At the Wedding is a co-production between Sand Lake Center for the Arts and Harbinger Theater. And it is about a lesbian who, without RSVPing, attends her ex-lover's wedding.
Okay.
And
we mean she wasn't invited?
She was invited, but she doesn't RSVP, but she shows up anyway.
Okay, all right.
Shows up anyway.
A little surprise.
Yep.
A little bit.
And we don't know what she's going to do. Is she there to have a raucous time? Is she there to disrupt, to cause trouble? And while she's deciding what she's doing there, and she's in a bad place because she felt that this woman that's getting married was the one. It was her one.
The one.
The one, right?
Yeah, we all know about the one.
Right, and the one. And what do we do if we feel like we have messed that up? You know, how do we either move on, or how do we try and grab that back, or what do we do in that situation? And so that's what the play is about. And then there's other characters in the play, and those characters are the bridesmaid, the mother of the bride, the sister of the groom, and the sister of the groom's partner. And then there's also, who am I missing? The cater waiter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that it?
I believe so.
Yes.
Okay, so does this play take place at the wedding?
Sort of.
We are.
Okay, Megan, you tell us.
So we are at the outskirts of the wedding. We're following Carlo, who can't quite get inside to the wedding. So we don't actually ever make it to the wedding.
You never make it?
We're there, but we're not there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all around the periphery
Yes.
of the wedding. So the set is going to be like the back of a tent. And then, you know how you have the gift table is sometimes separated from the venue, and also there's going to be a bar that's separated from the venue. There's a rooftop where things take place. So we're never really in the wedding, but we are at the wedding.
I love
the
that.
wedding.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's very clever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Megan plays Carlo, and that's our guide. That's our guide and our person that has lost the one.
Okay, you've won the one. So how did you Were you familiar with the play before?
You know, I was, because I actually take Patrick's acting class.
Okay.
And so I'll just give you a little bit of background of how that works.
Yeah,
so,
please do.
So his acting class, he'll often pair you up, if you don't have like a certain thing you want to work on or a certain person, he'll just randomly pair you up with somebody and he'll send you like a few different scenes. And so I was taking his class one time this past year, and he randomly picked me and somebody else, and he sent me several different scripts or scenes, and he said, if anyone piques your interest, I'll send you the whole thing. And one of them was at the wedding, just one scene from At the Wedding.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, that one's pretty funny. Didn't say anything to my scene partner. My scene partner is Amy. Amy is actually in our play as well. So at the same time, she emailed me and she was like, I was thinking At the Wedding. And I was like, I was thinking At the Wedding.
Oh,
and
that
then
worked
he
perfect.
messaged Patrick. At this point, though, Harbinger had not announced
Decided.
first season at all.
Yeah.
So we just liked it and worked on this one specific scene. And then throughout the weeks, Harbinger did announce their season, and
you said, oh.
yeah, I was like,
I'm familiar with that.
we have a scene night at the end of class, and Amy and I, we were like, should we audition? This was so much fun just to work on this one scene, and just to audition to see what else for me, Carlo would experience. Was an opportunity just to even audition. So,
Okay.
yeah. So, yeah, I was familiar with it.
How cool. Yeah. So is this, I'd say it's a comedy, right?
It is a comedy.
Yeah.
Because all these other people are also trying to give their advice on how she should handle this problem.
Oh, so she's actually trying to figure out, what should I do?
Yeah, correct. I mean,
Okay.
we don't know what she's going to do. That's part of the fun. That's part of
Yeah,
the
that's the part you
thing
may never know.
The thing
Who
that
knows?
makes us lean in and go, what's
Do
going
you
to
let
happen
us know
next?
at the end?
Because
Do you let us know at the end?
well, we make a choice at the end.
Oh.
We've made a choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
You let the audience make the choice, or do you make the choice?
We've made a choice, and we hope the audience can read that choice. It is
Okay.
kind of open-ended the way the play is written.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I mean, what was that? The play there was a play where the audience decides who the murderer is, or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
you could do that, but you're not doing that for this, so
No.
it's okay.
Not for this.
No,
But
because
it is
it's a
about-
written play, and you don't change that.
Right.
And it is about her character, and it is about the journey of her character. She starts off in a very different place from where she ends up.
Now, is this the last play for the Harbinger this season? Or do
This
you-
is our first show
Oh,
of
it's
the
your
season.
first.
We started late. We
Oh, that's
because of-
right. I was confused, so I had to ask you that.
we
yeah.
don't have a home per se. So
No,
we
I know
use
you don't,
different
but that's even
venues.
better.
And so this is the first, and then we have one that falls very, very fast beyond that, and that is between Riverside and Crazy. And
Where's
then-
that gonna be held?
That's going to be at Albany Civic Theater.
Oh, good.
And then
And you're kind of have it.
Yep.
Excuse me. You're kind of have to work within their seasons.
Correct.
Yeah, so
Yep.
that makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yep. Sometimes we rent spaces. Sometimes
They donate,
you know,
maybe?
they donate. Sometimes we co-produce with places.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I'm just going to keep going through our season. The next one is called The Deep Blue Sound.
Okay.
And it's about a community off the coast, the northwest coast, on an island, and how the whales have disappeared, and they all get together to talk about that. And it's really about how this community tries to communicate. And
Yeah,
they
together.
Just can't do it.
Oh, they can't.
But it's also it's fun, it's funny, but it's bittersweet, and it's just a gentle play that's kind of
Okay.
lovely. And then we finish off with Swing State, which is
Oh, Swing State.
yeah.
Yeah. I heard about that one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's back at Sand Lake Center for the
Yeah.
Arts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's really great.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and when is it, these are going to be produced June? No.
Yeah.
6th through the 15th?
June 6th through the 15th.
Get
So-
out. You know when it was happening during
I
that
do.
time.
Yeah, Capital Region Festival of Theater is happening.
How are you
then.
doing all that?
That's a great question.
I
Ann.
don't eat. Listen, if anybody needs a pat on the back, it's you guys.
Yeah, no, it'll all work out.
How can that do? Is that going to
So
be part of it?
is,
Is
it
going to
is
be part
of the festival. It is. There are several shows. There's probably 6 shows that are occurring during that festival time.
Okay.
So, but they are
You're
not going to be at
incorporating?
the major seven venues.
Eight. I heard there's eight
venues,
now.
Right. They're not going to be at the major 8 venues, but they're still happening during that time period. So they
So
are.
you can encourage people to.
Yep, they are, and they are promoted on the Capital Region Festival of Theater website. Yeah. So at that June 6th through the 6th, 7th, 8th, 13th, 14th, 15th. And so
Right.
Fridays and Saturdays are at 7:30.
Well, the other is the 12th through the 15th, the theater.
The theater festival, right,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
12th
so,
to
okay.
15th. And then Sundays for at the wedding is at 2:30. So
Yeah.
7:30 Friday, Saturday, 2:30 on Sunday.
Wow.
Just gonna get that in before
I
I
don't
forget
know. I mean, so what do you? Okay, let's kind of give the Capital Region Theater Festival of Theater. Yeah, that's it. A big plug on this show. So tell us a little bit. Are you involved in it?
I hope to be, but it is at the same time. I know that there's a few events I could attend or I help out with.
Yeah, no, if you're on
but not
stage,
at the
you
same
can't
time.
do
I
that.
gotta
And
be
so the play
available.
is about her, so she has a lot of stage
Yeah,
time.
no,
in
yeah,
this
you
play.
stay on
In
it.
fact, she's in every scene.
Forget
It's
it,
like-
Yeah,
yeah.
I never leave.
Okay, so tell us are you involved in that? I mean, I know you gotta be, because you're part of the board. aren't
That
you?
is correct. Did you probably already know this because you've talked to Patrick White, but there are over 100 theaters that are part of the Capital Region. So that's professional theaters, those are community theaters, those are kids groups, those are colleges.
Amazing.
It's amazing, right? And we, Patrick, myself, and some other folks decided that we really needed to celebrate the fact that we have such a vibrant community.
Amazing. It's amazing.
Yep. So, for the first time around, we didn't want to we didn't get too ambitious, but it's ambitious enough, as it turns out. So there's 4 days now, 8 different venues. And
And the 8th one is the mayor's.
Yes, the
That's
mayoral
exciting.
forum talking about the arts. But each of these events, depending on what time of day and where they are, have a different focus too. Because there's a senior day on Friday morning. There's a youth theater on Friday afternoon into the evening. There's Saturday morning is up at Fort Salem. It's sort of got a music sort of focus to it, but
Okay.
also in the afternoon, that's at Schenectady Light Opera Company, and that also has a more musical theater since that's kind of
That's
their
what,
focus
yeah,
in
so
general.
that's what their focus
And
is.
then in the evening on Saturday, that's at Cap Rep. And each of these venues, and then finally Sunday at UAlbany. But each of these venues, someone has curated different performances. They may be one acts, or there may be roundtables. There's or discussion groups. There may be workshops going on, and all that stuff is being put on the website. I'm going to give you that now.
Please do.
CRFT Inc. INC.
And CRFT is Capital Region Festival of Theaters. Yeah.
Right. .org. Yep. And then we became a 501c3, and so we're already trying, thinking about even next year.
I heard
Yeah.
Patrick did say when he was
So-
on the show that they're looking at next
that's
season.
awesome.
And,
Amazing.
we're very
And maybe
excited
you
about
won't be doing a play
Yeah,
then.
right. I'll be more involved.
So a lot going on
Yeah.
in June.
Well, as I told Patrick and of course you, that we have such a vibrant theater community here, and it's amazing when you look at the number of, like you said, about 100, the number of productions, and we're not even talking about music events that are coming. I mean, there's so much of the arts and so much that we're trying to, it seems to me, to diminish from a national level. And here we are just plugging it away and making it happen and hoping that we don't lose the organizations that depend on the federal funding.
Sure. But we are a very lucky area. You know what I mean? It's
Well,
there's
you
just
don't-
this
you don't-
wealth of
Yeah, you don't.
Stuff going
you
on.
don't worry about getting, when you get a casting call, you probably get more than enough people acting, coming out for that.
Right.
When you need a theater, especially since you're moving around a little bit, you're
Yep.
still getting people that will say, yes, we can help you here.
Yes.
These are the
We could always
important
use
things
more.
when we use, but we're supporting each other is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
Whether it's financially or it's whether emotionally or physically or however it calls, we're supporting each other in the arts, which is very important.
It is a very caring community, the theater
Yeah.
community.
Yeah, and if you go to other areas, I had friends that moved to Lincoln, Nebraska, I think it was, and they said they were involved in the community here, and they got there and they said, it's a wasteland. We're talking the capital,
Yeah.
and it's a wasteland as far as theater.
There's folks over in the Berkshires who come over and do theater in Albany because they have plenty of professional theater over there, but they don't have a whole lot of community theater.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're willing to travel, that's an hour, really.
Yeah. But it's important. It shows that the dedication that the theater community has, whether you're on the stage or behind the scenes, and I know there's a lot of problems with getting help with lighting and set design and things because there's just so few of those that are doing it, and
Right.
so there's kind of like a pull. We need somebody for sound. We need this,
Yeah.
but I'm sure that coming together with the Capital Region Festival of Theater, you're bringing people together so that they can make these contacts and figure out who can help when.
And we want to get people interested in those areas as
Yeah.
well.
I know you don't have to all be on stage.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
I left
that-
it. I don't need,
Yeah, you need people that for costumes and set design,
Yep.
and you need
Sound.
somebody selling tickets. All of this is important with theater, and I'm sure that I know you know that. And you probably know that as well. So, have you performed in any other productions?
Yeah, I've worked with Harbinger before.
Okay, so, yeah.
Yeah, just.
So this isn't your maiden voyage.
my main voyage. What?
Maiden.
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 Oh, maiden. Oh, I was.
Isn't that what they
No.
call it, the maiden
maiden
voyage?
voyage.
Yeah.
Maiden voyage.
The first voyage or something?
It's not my first voyage.
No, so I wish you a lot of success at the wedding. I'd like to try and catch
you.
that
Oh,
too,
that'd
because
be
it sounds like
great.
a
That'd be
great
great.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the theme. Yeah, and I love what you had the design of it. Yeah, it sounds like fun.
That's
so,
fun.
Thank you for both for being
Thanks for
here.
having us.
Yeah, we're going to switch over and talk to Richard Loveridge. Richard has been involved with the Alpha-1, and it's an enzyme, isn't it, or what is it?
It's a protein.
Protein. I'm sorry, protein.
Alpha-1 antitrypsin is a protein that's made in the liver, and it's the body's most important anti-inflammatory agent that's naturally
It's an
produced.
anti-inflammatory.
Anti-inflammatory.
So
And
if you don't have it,
let's be scientific, because I know you're a
Yeah,
scientist,
yeah.
and it is not that I don't have it, it's malformed.
It's
So it's
malformed.
literally a mechanical issue in this
Okay.
very, very tiny thing. So an alpha-1 protein looks kind of like a bunch of hangers.
do we have a picture of
Yeah,
that?
I think we do.
Yeah, let's bring that up.
Let's
And
go.
let's see, we'll watch the preview and see what it is.
first,
there it is that
Well,
it?
that's the first picture. Let's go to the second one. Just
Let's
for
go to
now.
the second
Thanks,
one. There we
guys.
are, okay.
Third.
Third.
for your
We got these,
flexibility.
no,
Fourth.
that's fourth. Let's just keep going.
Oh,
Wait,
oh,
we
maybe
had.
it didn't show up. It doesn't
Oh,
matter.
that's all right. You know what is, put his name up,
That's okay.
and it's right there on the corner.
Oh, that little one.
Yeah, that
Anyway,
one.
it looks like a tangle of coat hangers that you left
Okay.
on the floor. And as random as it looks, it is a very specific arrangement of those tangles.
Okay.
And
Sort
in
of like
people-
DNA where
It's even less, it looks less planned than
Oh,
that
okay,
even.
all right.
And in folks like myself that have alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, there's a malformation. So it ends up being like barrel of monkeys, and the alpha-1 proteins, instead of going where they need to go in your body to act as an anti-inflammatory agent, they hook together.
Okay,
And in
they
your-
got
in
no
your-
place to go.
Exactly,
Yeah.
they have no place to go, so they're stuck in the liver. In your language, they would polymerize,
Mm-hmm.
so they make a sheet, they make a blob. Not good for your lungs because they're not being treated, and not good for your liver because it's full of
It's
blobs.
stuck,
Not
yeah.
a good thing. So again, alpha-1 is a liver and lung disorder.
Is this something you catch, or is this something that's hereditary, or is it
Yeah,
something
can
that
pull
we
up the
don't know?
Hereditary slide if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely hereditary. So let's use, I'm the creative director.
He's looking for the slide now,
You'll find
yeah.
it.
Okay.
I'm the creative director at Armory Studios New York, as
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
And we have the Phoenix basketball there. They're terrific. Wonderful.
Oh
You've been
my
at the
gosh,
games?
I've been going to those games.
Well, at a sold-out game, there are 1,500 people, and in Studio A at Armory Studios New York. Out of those 1,500 fans, 60 people are likely they could be carriers of Alpha 1.
Really? A
So,
carrier, but
again,
doesn't mean it's like
carrier.
color blindness. You
I'm
can be a
using that-
carrier but not be color.
It's a little bit of an old term word, but I'm using it to make a point. Out of 2 games full of people, one of the persons might actually have full-blown
And not
Alpha
know it,
1.
maybe.
And well, that's another thing. So it goes in levels, and what I am is what they call a ZZ. And a ZZ is a person who has kind of full-blown Alpha 1.
Okay.
What we have learned, even in the short span of time that since I've been diagnosed, which is like 16 years ago, we've learned that some people with just one of those 60 people, they could also have a very severe expression of the illness. And this is kind of new and rather shocking. So it's not as rare a disease, perhaps, as rarely diagnosed. And that's the problem in many rare diseases, of course, is that, doctors misdiagnose, undiagnose.
It's like sarcoidosis.
Like
they have no
sarcoidosis.
idea. It manifests itself in so many different
You
ways.
have asthma, you have this.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, we joke, you have asthma, you have COPD, you're dead. And,
Yeah.
and along that way, you should have found out that you actually also, importantly, have alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. The only way you can tell is with a test. The test is free through the Alpha-1 Foundation at alpha1.org, and it's completely confidential, of course. And after that, the day I was diagnosed, I got a speeding ticket, which sounds completely crazy. I was so excited that I had a diagnosis.
And you finally got a diagnosis. And you found out what it was.
I'm not happy that I have this disorder,
No,
but I was sick
but at
already.
least you got a final,
Yeah. The diagnosis doesn't make you ill. The diagnosis is a path forward to possible treatment.
Well, what is the treatment?
The treatment, another great question.
I would imagine that you're looking at steroids.
For flare-ups and stuff, obviously, and that's another whole show in itself, right? And they're very important. I had a particularly bad winter, so I was friends with many steroids. There it is. That's an alpha-1 protein.
He's
Isn't
going to
it
bring it
cute?
up now.
Isn't
Bring it up.
Cute? Yeah.
No, it's not on the screen. There it
There
is.
he
Now
is.
it's on the screen.
Again, kind of like a bunch of hangers, right?
Oh, that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's what the protein looks like. Everyone has it. And again, in folks like myself, just one of those little wires that's hanging out is the wrong shape. Just one.
Just one. Okay.
That's it. And of course, that's encoded in your genes. So both parents being carriers, you put it together.
But
boom.
Is it common that both parents would be carriers and not know it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
It never came up in the family. They're just carriers.
And again, there's every excuse. I have heard so many excuses for why you shouldn't be tested. Oh, you smoked, so therefore, I suppose we're to assume you deserve to be sick, right? So you smoked. You're too heavy. You're too thin.
I got to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I went through a lot of medical stuff. I'd never heard of this.
Right.
But then I'd never heard of sarcoidosis. See, so some of these, they're not rare, they're just unrecognized.
Yeah.
And because of the condition that it's not like you got cancer cells in your or you got this. These manifest themselves and give different symptoms.
Yeah.
So you think, like you say, oh, you smoke, or you this or that. And you say, well, I never smoked,
That's right.
But it's so easy to give it another name rather than finding out. That's why testing is so important.
Why should anybody care about alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency? It's a really good question. There's so many other disorders and cancers. Here's why you should care. Because there are so many people, someone in almost everyone's family or a group of friends who has a breathing issue.
Yeah.
There you go. Anyone with a breathing issue that's
Should get
severe enough
tested.
to send you to a pulmonologist should be tested. And why again? Because if you're being treated, you're not being treated completely correctly.
That's
and
it.
and in other words, it's something to just get out of the way. So 90% of the people that get tested are going to say, "Ooh, that's great, I don't have that." But
So
for
you're
that
saying
small
you can go to the
percentage-
website and
Yes.
get a test?
Alpha1.org, follow the route for the testing, and
Is there
again,
any prerequisites?
Just some, but it's not. I mean, again, if you're having severe breathing problems,
Yeah.
that pretty much is going to let you in.
Yeah.
And the cool part, if you will, the elegant part of having an inherited disorder is once Uncle Joe is diagnosed, well then,
Maybe.
Betty, his niece, she's having terrible allergies,
yeah.
and she's on prednisone, and she
maybe
shouldn't
it
be.
isn't allergies,
There
yeah.
you go. So it is. There's a beauty, if you will, to the fact that it's inherited, and whole families become informed immediately. Some people do nothing about it,
Yeah.
and take no action, and some families become.
So
quite
is the
charged
treatment?
up.
So suppose they said, "Oh, you have asthma." Is
Yeah.
the treatment different for alpha-1 as it is for asthma? I mean,
So you're going to have an inhaler probably. You're going to be on steroids when you have flare-ups. All of those things, antihistamines, all those things will remain the same. But the difference is that there's a plasma-derived medication, if you will, which is, in other words, we're pulling healthy alpha-1 antitrypsin from the blood of healthy people who donate. I think there's a donation center right on Central Avenue.
Oh,
So
really?
plasma donation, super important. America is actually a hub of plasma donation. Most of the European alphas in Europe, of course it's a worldwide disorder, right?
well, you just came back from Portugal.
I did. I came back from the global conference. That was my 4th or 5th. And it was in beautiful Portugal. And it was very exciting. It's always very exciting to hear how, not just how other people in this country are dealing with the disorder or the research that's going on or the messaging, but to see how it's done in other countries.
Yeah. And is there a lot of research being done?
There's an incredible amount. When I sat with you for the very first time, I probably said something like, there's a lot of research going on. More recently, I probably said, they're almost certainly going to cure this in my lifetime, even my lifetime.
You think that you could find a cure?
Now, I gave you a piece of paper.
Yeah, you did.
Why don't you read the first line?
Well, I'm going to read the first line. This is October 16th,
Mm-hmm.
24. So this was
There you
6
go.
months ago or so. Today's proof of mechanism data are the first ever clinical demonstration of RNA, ribonucleic acid, editing in humans.
So from the perspective of my rare disorder, Wave Pharmaceuticals in Boston has actually cured 2 people of my disorder with 2 injections. It changed
So they got to
their
do
DNA.
something to those little wires, right?
That's right. Change their RNA, which transcribes, right?
Mm-hmm.
The RNA goes over and tells the DNA what to do. Oh, please, doctors, scientists.
Yeah, that's okay.
You can punch me later.
Yeah.
And then these people have been affected permanently. It's the first time it's ever happened. It's in human trial, and it seems the longer spiel is that there seem to be no side effects that are of any significance, and they're the first 2 human beings to have their genes edited.
And they're cured.
So far. It was 57 days when they did the first test.
Yeah.
So I will actually have me back, and I'll be leaving for Miami in a couple of weeks for the national conference, and I'm sure I'll hear more about it. So
Have
in
you
point
put
of
your
fact,
hand up and says, I'd like to be,
what's that?
I'd like to be one of them?
Oh yeah. Oh well, that's a good point. The cure has nothing to do with us that are fighting for it. It is not going to change my life. Not
You don't
really.
think so?
Not probably. No.
Okay.
It's more because the damage is quite done.
Oh, I see what you're
with
saying.
me, and it's lung damage is irreversible, unfortunately. So that's my question.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we're kind of on our way to getting a cure, I selfishly raise my hand and say, how about something to rebuild lung tissue?
Well,
There
that's-
is research.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's even a bigger bridge.
Yeah.
We're not quite there yet.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to find out you've got something and there's just not, I mean, you just can treat it, is all you can do.
What's important to us is that we're all fighting to make sure that no child needs to suffer needlessly in the future, or no adult needs to discover, like I did, that they have
Okay,
this
what
disorder.
what is your vision if this RNA that they're working on or
Yeah.
right now to rebuild works? Do you see this as an intervention at the very beginning?
Absolutely. So again, that the niece from Uncle Joe, who has Alpha 1. They may decide that she has some markers, and they're going to start to give her the 2 shots right away.
Just 2 shots.
We just don't know. We don't know exactly what the future holds, and what's a new sentence.
Well, right now it's under research.
It's under research, and the new sentence that's going to come out of, I think, our mouths is there isn't going to be one cure for Alpha 1. Just like there won't be one cure for sickle cell anemia. There'll be, I mean, I did a shout out to Wave Pharmaceuticals, who's doing great work, and another.
Where's Wade located?
In Boston. And another one in Boston that's also awesome is Vertex. And Vertex is in the New York Times every few weeks.
So they're doing
knocking
biological research.
Unbelievable strides they're making in disorders that, frankly, they were hopeless. So the future is going to be really bright for genetics. I hope that world governments can figure out a way to pay for all of it, because once you can cure everything, that sounds great, but who pays for it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know that I was involved with the Albany College of Pharmacy, and we have a research area, and they do a lot with biologics.
Yeah.
But you're finding even with like a cancer, breast cancer, if they can find out, what your markers are, they're able to do something and treat. Even if they can't cure it, they know how to treat it better based on your biological, setup. Yeah.
Now,
so
as a rare disorder, of course, there isn't the luxury, let's say, of working on tons of research on comorbidities.
No, because you're the orphans.
We don't have the numbers, but working on a cure is, again, that's what we're all about. It's about the future alpha who finds out they have it, they get the 2 shots, and they get a checkup every few years, and they never have to think about it again. That's our dream.
They're working on that way with prostate cancer, so, it's like.
Speaking of gene research, as you know, that's pretty science fiction, this particular thing. And we're sitting in Proctor's now.
And what's
happening? We have a science fiction festival coming to Schenectady.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
I mean, we should have done this years ago. But anyway,
it's so exciting.
I am a sci-fi fan.
Yeah.
I have been a sci-fi fan since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I remember in junior high, I wrote a science fiction story and illustrated it.
Oh, wonderful. I want to see it.
I wish I could too, but I gave it to the teacher and she never gave it back to me. I remember that. And if you're up there,
she sold it to Hollywood.
That was the movie. I didn't even get.
But the festival's coming. What is it? June.
Tell us about
20, 21st, and 22nd. It's going to start at Armory Studios, New York. It's going to also be at Proctor's, at the beautiful GE Theater at Proctor's on the giant screen, and also Movie Land right down the block.
Yeah. So what are you going to show?
Just something for everyone. It sounds lame,
Forbidden
but it
Planet?
literally is.
That was one of the.
Eventually.
Yeah.
This year we have some old films. We even have silent films. We have
Metropolis.
And there'll probably be sections
I
of it.
love Metropolis.
And then
they just showed it on TCM today.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Metropolis was lost and then refound.
They found 18 minutes of it. Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to be so. If
we're movie buffs.
If you just like sci-fi, if you want to hear smart people talk about it, we're going to have some terrific panels on silent movie history, on AI, gene research as well. So it's going to be a terrific. And again, it's the blending for us of science and science fiction, given that we're Schenectady, the home of so much science.
Yeah.
My side's involved as well.
Yeah,
So I think I got all the partners there. Bear and Bird is helping out.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of fun for any devotee of science fiction.
I know, and to me, it's just, I love science fiction. I mean, I don't like kind of the silly stuff, but I like the forward thinking of what's, what could happen and that kind of thing.
Arthur C. Clarke, right?
Yeah, Arthur C. Clarke. I got a book. Yeah. Anyway, you get you're touching my heart here.
Okay.
So, thank you so much, Richard, for being
Thank
here.
you.
And and I know that you're over at the Armory Studios, New York, but I have to say, the New York Phoenix, go team.
They'll be back soon for playoffs, we hope.
Yeah,
and that's going to be terrific.
I went to a number of their games. It's great. If you like basketball, get over there and see their games. They've already played their last one in May 10th, I think.
The last normal season home game, but that does not mean they will not be back. They'll be back soon, hopefully, in the playoffs.
They're such a great
kick
team
some more
and
butt.
such a fast game.
Such a great game.
Yeah, it's just great. I love it. So thanks again.
Thank you.
And we're going to go over here and talk about another condition, which I don't know if you're aware of, but spina bifida. So we're going to talk about that. Thank you both for being here today. It's so good to see you again.
Good to see you.
And yeah, spina bifida is one of those conditions that apparently folic acid has something to do with. So let's talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so spina bifida is a birth defect. It occurs in the first month of pregnancy when the spinal column is forming.
Yeah.
Yes. So folic acid helps with the formulation of neural tubes. So not just spina bifida, but all neural tube defects. It's not a guarantee, but it does have a significant.
It has an import.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. So in addition to a high folate diet, we recommend that any woman who can become pregnant, starting in her teenage years, take a multivitamin. Now, almost all women's multivitamins are going to have the recommended
400 micrograms is
you
usually.
got it,
yeah,
Ann,
yeah.
exactly. So that way, it's not necessarily
You're planning on pregnancy. You're just knowing that you're keeping it in
Yeah,
there.
and you know what? The hair, the skin, the nails, all of it benefits. So
Folic acid is very important in your body.
it is,
Yeah, whether you're pregnant or not. It's
Exactly.
Good. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of pregnancies aren't planned. Some are, but I think 50% aren't. So
Yeah, yeah.
we try and account for that in our messaging.
Exactly.
And understanding there's some women who did take folic acid who were planning a pregnancy and still had a child with spina bifida. So it's not, like we
Not a
said, that
guarantee, but it's a
100%.
pretty good start.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 Being connected with a doctor, prenatal vitamins, all of that is going to help no matter what.
And it's. I think part of the problem is that if you don't, you're talking the first, month or so.
Yeah, 28 days.
And if you don't know you're pregnant,
A lot of people might not. Yeah, again, if you're not really
So that's why you have
following-
to anticipate.
Yeah, that's exactly the message we send.
And how are you involved now with this?
So I'm the operations and
Yeah.
clinical manager now. So I'm in charge of our
You
case
gotta
management.
change your position from last time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm in charge of our case management and counseling services, and I help plan our programs. So yeah.
Okay, and what do you got coming up? I know that you had a walk recently.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now you've got some other things coming up as well. But right now you're talking about your basketball clinic. So what is a basketball clinic and how does that work?
Yeah, so we're having an adaptive basketball clinic hosted at Vent Fitness in Latham, and we have our sponsors and partners being Stride Adaptive Sports as well
Oh, so you
as
work with
Endless
Stride,
Highway.
yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah, good friends with them. And so what's going to happen is we have Rochester Wheels, which is a NWBA team coming in to help teach the clinic, and it's for individuals of all abilities to be able to attend and recreate and really form an inclusive environment around recreation and sports.
Okay, that's really, and I guess you know that my grandson
Of course.
was, has
Derek did sled hockey?
sled hockey.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he really, and what amazed me so much, well, with sled hockey is, let me just tell you what it is, right?
Yeah.
You're sitting on a sled, sort of, and what's amazing is they have the hockey sticks, but
And they
one
push.
side is a pusher, and the other side is the,
Yeah.
what do they call it? You know,
I'm going to call it a stick. But
the hockey stick.
I love adaptive sports, but I was a cheerleader.
Yeah.
But to that point, I think recreation and inclusive recreation, it's always possible. We might have a vision of it for people with no physical disabilities or intellectual disabilities, but there's always a way to make it work. And we're just seeing that expand and become more popular around the state and country. We
Well,
know
aren't they doing like the Olympics? They're kind
Paralympics.
of
We
yeah.
have a Paralympic athlete who has spina bifida who's going to be doing a meet and greet at our clinic. And there's a lot of really famous Paralympic athletes with spina bifida in marathon racing and all of that. So every year we also do Paralympic watch parties because it is a growing field, and we recognize our mission's all about health and wellness and all aspects of health. And sports and teams like this and having that outlet is good mentally, it's good physically, it's good socially. There's a lot of perks to it.
Socialization to
Right.
me is it was amazing to see how much socialization helped him. Yeah.
Well, right,
Yeah.
and because so many kids programs exist, right? And in school, you're always around other people. And then when someone with spina bifida transitions into college or into employment or just whatever their life after high school looks like, they might feel really isolated. Maybe they were a little bit behind their peers. Maybe they're in an area where they don't know anyone. This bridges a gap. It helps with diet and nutrition. It helps with weight management. And, you know, we really, it's not our sole focus, but when we can incorporate a program that's going to demonstrate these benefits and do it at a really low cost, and let people just try it out, network with other people with spina bifida, we see such benefit from it. The connections made and being able to try it makes it less intimidating. Trying anything new is uncomfortable for all of us. So we're just trying to kind of reduce the barriers, open the door, and let them try. And Kathleen and I have tried out wheelchair basketball. It is intense. It is intense.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that because Derek played, I think it was Union or RPI hockey, and they had to get into the sled hockey. They had to.
Oh yeah.
They had to get in there and play against a team that was a sled hockey team, and they were having all kinds of trouble.
That was us. Yeah.
Yeah.
We visited a school who had that program, and they were like, you guys can hop in chairs and play. And that was the other cool thing is,
then you understand.
Yeah, and for some people with spina bifida, it's such a spectrum. You know, it's a snowflake condition.
Yeah, you don't know.
Right. So someone could walk unassisted. Someone could have some form of paralysis and
Forearm
maybe
crutches.
exactly
Yeah.
Use a wheelchair for long distance. This type of sport allows you, even if you aren't a full-time wheelchair user, to still participate because you might not have the mobility to
Or the stamina.
so it helps with that inclusivity and so we were able to hop in and play, and it's intense and it's a big learning curve, like just turning a chair. I was like, they do it so seamlessly.
Well, and I got to hold a ball at the same
Oh,
time.
yeah.
It's a lot. And I think also with this program as well, it's not just for individuals living with disabilities because it's open to the entire disability community, but it also allows parents and caregivers to participate, siblings, friends. Anyone who wants to come is more than welcome to. The registration fee is only $5.
When is this, first of all? We didn't.
It's June 14th.
Okay.
Yep, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
In Latham, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we're in Latham, I'm sorry.
Vent Fitness.
Oh, Vent Fitness. Okay.
Yep.
So they're cooperating then, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're donating
they've been
the
great.
space to us, which is awesome. Those types of partnerships. Stride's going to be helping out with some of the wheelchairs. Endless Highways coming from Rochester. So that's something else we're really big on, is like bringing the community together by partnering with all these other agencies and organizations who share our mission.
Yeah.
And hopefully, to Kathleen's point too, it is a family event, and we also want to expose some of the local sports teams. Like we have a vision, she has a vision for this that I share, to really get local sports teams involved and see how they can take their recreation programs and make them inclusive.
It's all about inclusivity.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like you said with sled hockey, just because we don't know what it looks like doesn't mean it's not possible. There's always a way.
Yeah,
There's
there
always
is.
a way.
There is. Now, do you have regional meetings or anything like that you kind of participate in, or is this just kind of, are you an island unto yourself?
No, we, as a new statewide organization, just in the past, I keep saying new, it's been 3 years.
Yeah,
so
I know you've been.
We've been around for 30-something years, so it's a little new still, but we do regional events all across the state. This March, we were in New York City because we had Bibs in the half marathon, and one of our adults with spina bifida raced in that. And we're doing the adaptive basketball clinic locally. We just had our walk and rolls, one in Long Island, one in Schenectady. But this summer, every year for the anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, we partner with a bunch of nonprofits and hospitals partners in Syracuse. And we put on a 2-day conference. So we will be going out the weekend of July 26, 1990. That's the anniversary of the ADA. And we are doing on the trails. So the Erie Canal Way is accessible. And so part of our, mission with health is to get people out and utilizing that as a way to do adaptive kayaking, adaptive fishing, adaptive cycling.
Skiing. I didn't know they could do skiing.
Yeah. You really can do it all.
That surprised me. Actually.
It's bonkers. It is,
I know.
just because we can't imagine it. But then you see it and it's like, oh, they really did figure it out. And honestly, it was probably created in the minds of people with disabilities who always have to be.
They're the ones.
They have to adapt and think all the time. So that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So we're excited to go out there. We do that event on the trails and get people out, do a small walk and roll with some of our partners. And then this year, our conference is focused on mental health and wellness. I don't know if you want to talk about some of the sessions we're having.
Sure, yeah. So we are having some different sessions on coping strategies and cultivating positive habits. We have a session for parents. We have a session for adults living with disabilities and dealing with loss. We have sessions on anxiety and depression. We are also bringing some kinesthetic coping experiences in. So we're going to be having music therapy, art therapy, different dogs coming in, therapy dogs to come in and hang out with some of our kids. And just, it's going to be a really great time for the community to get together and to learn more about what mental wellness means. Yep, July 26th.
Okay, good. And that's going to be where in?
We host it in Syracuse.
Syracuse.
Yep. So that it's a big weekend. We start in the morning with the On the Trails event. Then we're doing our mental wellness disability conference. The next day we're doing a transportation summit as well. So we received a grant from the Council on Developmental Disabilities, and they're trying to tackle the transportation issue for people with disabilities. So, for example, someone might want to work, but if they don't have a mode of transportation because there's not paratransit or if paratransit's not reliable, then they can't work. If they can't work, they can't pay for things.
Exactly.
And so all of these systems.
Independence.
Yeah. It is such a mechanism for that, and you don't need to drive, but you need to have options that are reliable, safe, and accessible. And across the state, across the country, of course, but in New York State, there is a really big gap. And so we were one of the awardees, and our goal with this summit is to highlight, what does exist. So Sunnyview has a driver training center. There's mobility van companies that we partner with and want our consumers to know about. There's also some really cool entrepreneurial ventures that people impacted by a disability or a medical condition have established as a result. Again, that like resilience and adaptability that they get from living with it and not having a solution. And so we're excited to do that too. So it's a very full weekend, very low cost, again, around $15. We utilize, sponsors.
So anybody can join it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful to know.
Exactly. So we'll,
go to their website and get the information.
Exactly, right on our website. And if they live within, 60 miles of the
event.
Yeah, we're going to pay for their travel and lodge.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you both for being here and doing
Thanks,
such great
Ann.
work. I know you're very important.
Well,
important
thank
in our
you.
lives as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to switch over here and talk about shells. Did you bring any shells with you?
I brought my treasure chest.
He brought his treasure chest. You're going to have to hang in here and watch these shells here.
Excuse me.
Okay, we're talking about Jewels of the Sea, and you are a naturalist, and you're involved in conchology?
Conchology, malacology. Malacology.
Malacology.
Malacology.
Mal means bad.
No. No. Malacology is the study of the shell and the animal in it.
Oh.
Conchology is the study of the shells
shell
themselves.
itself. Okay. All right. So what did you bring with you? It's got some really neat stuff here. I'm looking down on it. So anyway, we're going to talk about
I'll give you
it.
that first.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes.
And
And that's in Braille too.
Yes.
See, this is adaptive.
This is-
Did you notice that, girls?
Yes, this is.
Adaptive. It's Braille.
It's all coming together here. There's
Yes,
a lot
yes, it is.
to associate with that. Let's do this first.
That doesn't look like a shell.
It is not.
Okay.
It is a.
It looks like a thing at the bottom of that I'm going to fill with popcorn.
It is the actual shape and size of an eyeball from a giant squid.
Get out.
60 feet long. It's the eye. That is
50
the
feet
largest
long.
eye of any creature on the planet.
I had no idea. I don't want him looking at me through my window. So anyway,
Anyway, yes. Oh, here.
that's
Put that
okay.
Right there.
You got plenty of.
Let's do this.
I love those shells. Those. Oh, you're looking at that. Looks like a.
Chambered nautilus.
Yeah. Where do you get these? These are beautiful.
Well, the collection is we've collected from Nova Scotia down to the Keys and out to Alaska. People will call me up. My parents have passed. They've been collecting for 40 years. If you don't want them, we're going to toss them out.
Oh no! And you said no. Don't talk.
I will be right there.
Yeah, I'll be right there.
Also, there's a great seashell shop out in Provincetown on Cape Cod.
Okay.
We're very good friends.
Okay.
So, and they go all over the world, so they
Okay.
collect some very nice species.
Okay. So this, what would I find in there? Would that be like a snail?
They are relatives of squid and octopus.
Really?
So they're cephalopods, and they have 8 arms, and
And they live inside there.
there you can kind of see on the inside there's a wall.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
That is where the animal lives.
Oh, way up there.
Yep.
Okay.
They create the shell, as you can see the layers. As the animal grows, they create more
It
of a
gets
shell.
bigger. Yeah.
And inside are chambers, chambered nautilus, and through that chamber is a small tube. So as the animal grows, they pump air into each of the closed off chambers from their previous size. That gives them buoyancy. So when they swim this way
With that shell on them?
with the shell.
I'll be darned. But this one, I can't imagine you swimming with that baby.
This
These I think are lovely.
this is
This is the one we see in pictures because they're so beautiful.
Yes. You may hold it. if
I'd
you
love
like.
to hold that. Oh, isn't that
It is
gorgeous?
a
I mean,
Pacific-
this is like, you can't even make something this beautiful.
No. Humans try, and So it's a Pacific trumpet triton. There's an Atlantic triton, and the outside of the shell is the same. The inside, the markings are somewhat
If I do
different.
this, will I hear the ocean?
You will, and it's because it's directly connected to the ocean. Don't let anybody tell you anything else.
This is gorgeous. Is this not gorgeous? Is this not gorgeous? Are they all the same color, or
Yes.
is the color? Oh, I was going to say, is the color dependent on the water? But apparently not.
No, that's genetic.
Aren't they gorgeous? Isn't that just gorgeous? Yeah, this is gorgeous.
Yes.
Did I say that?
You did.
Okay, we're gonna put it right there. Maybe he'll forget it. No. Okay, now what is this? This looks like a claw.
It's a lobster claw.
Yeah.
From
I just had
a
lobster.
that's 3.5, 4 feet long.
Could they be that big?
They can. When you leave them alone, this is what you get.
They get big.
Yeah. That's from the Cape.
Well, that would have made a good meal. Okay. Yeah,
Here.
that's just a claw.
That's just the claw.
And what happened to the rest of them?
More than likely, it was dinner for a number of people.
Okay.
More than likely.
Oh, okay. But didn't they get a lobster that was huge and they threw it back? What was that? What was that story? Remember that?
I do. I think it was a blue lobster.
Yeah, it was
which is relatively rare.
Rare.
Yeah. And it was so huge and so beautiful, they, please,
Yeah.
live.
Let it live. Yeah.
Yeah. This,
Oh my God. Now I have never seen, can you get that? I have never seen anything like that before.
that's a tibia shell. It is Pacific, most likely more around the Indian Ocean, China Sea, thereabouts.
And they lived inside that?
This is a gastropod.
And it's called tibia because of the
Because of
yeah,
the long,
yeah.
right. Any shell with a single opening like that is a snail.
Oh, it's a
Anything with
snail.
a double opening, clams, oysters, are bivalves.
Okay.
Completely different animal.
So this is snail-like.
This is a snail.
A real snail or a snail-like?
No, a snail.
It is a snail.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't see those
And-
up in Montreal. That's
No.
what I ate up there.
Escargot.
Escargot.
Yeah.
But
and-
snails don't live in the water, though, do they? Or
Yes.
do they?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
I
That's
thought
a
they kind
snail.
of went around the,
No, that's a snail.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yep, and this is actually the front part, so
Okay,
the snail
yeah.
is here.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay,
over
no, we
there.
want to be
Yes.
very careful with these.
Careful. All right.
I'm being very cautious. I don't want to have his tibia broken. Now
Yes.
that's, oh,
You never get all the sand out.
you never get all the else. That's
Okay.
okay. That's a crab, isn't it?
Horseshoe crab.
Horseshoe.
That's a very small one. That's about 6 years old.
Okay, let's look at the underside so you know that if you're enjoying your meal, that's probably what you're going to want to eat over there, right? They do eat horseshoe crabs, don't they?
No, horseshoe
No,
crabs
they don't eat these. It's okay.
don't eat those. No.
Okay.
They're very primitive, and mostly they're meals for sea turtles and seagulls.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So they get plenty of calcium if they eat the outer shell.
Yes, and they are actually.
Well, obviously they don't because you caught this one, right?
Well, that's actually a molt.
Oh, okay. So as it gets bigger, it molts.
Correct.
Okay, I
Like
gotcha.
any-
Gotcha.
Like any crustacean.
It's like snakes, don't they? They keep molting.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, this is good. Can I
This
hold?
is-
Let me hold part of this.
There.
Can you catch that? Okay, go ahead.
I have this on display for our
You have a
display,
museum,
right?
yeah.
And I had one question. Can you tell how old they are by how big they are? Well, you can if you do a little research.
You got to know what the smallest one was.
That would be over here. Yes. So, over.
You mean they actually get rid of the shell each time,
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's a crustacean, so they
and
must
they make a new shell,
they must shed the shell like lobsters or crabs or any other.
and they squirm out of it, and they start over again.
Yes, they actually do. They mature at 10 years old, and within that 10-year period, they shed between 17 and 18 times.
Oh my goodness.
The adult is 2 feet long from nose to tail, and
Now wait, what are we looking at here? These are the horseshoe?
these are horseshoe crabs.
They get that big?
They do.
I'll be darned.
Yep.
Okay. That's interesting. So when I was looking at that, they actually, excuse me.
Yeah, got it.
They actually wiggle out of all of these little thingies?
Here, stay. This separation here
Yeah.
is
Oh, don't.
darn gravity. This opens,
Oh,
that's the head, that's the face, the front. That opens, and that's where the animal,
and they crawl out.
as they
And they're very vulnerable at that point, I would assume.
They are. They've formed a brand new shell, but it's also paper
Pliable,
thin. And
yeah.
Yes. So they hide for about 2 weeks, and that's
Till
when
it
the shell
solidifies.
solidifies.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So your museum, let's talk
Yes.
about your museum. It's in Troy.
Correct.
You're
It
only
is-
open a few times. So, I mean, it's not like you're open every day.
Right. We're open. We've just changed it actually once every 3 months.
Okay.
And it would be the first Saturday of that month. So our last one was in the beginning of this month, which is May. August, first Saturday in August, first Saturday in November.
Okay.
Will be our next
And why is
ones.
that? Interest?
Interest, we also have coordinated it with the farmers market in Troy. And we used to do it once the first Saturday of every month. And largely the same people come
Yeah.
to the thing all the time. So if they've seen it once or twice, then they don't come again.
Yeah, okay.
So we're making it a little more rare.
Yeah, okay. And are you adding new items to these? Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's interesting. It's got to be interesting to see it. I mean, just the fact that, do you go into schools? I mean, you must
Yes.
get into schools to explain
libraries.
this because this is amazing stuff. I
Yes,
mean,
thank
just
you.
looking at what I see here is amazing. So, well, I want to, and you're located in Troy, and
Right.
I guess we're almost out of time here. Let me just don't go, and I'm just going to say who's coming up on our next show. We've got the Bunbury Players, the Iroquois Museum from In-House Cave, Juneteenth, the STEP program, which has to do with horses, and the Sycamore Summer program. Okay, I got that out of the way. So, and I'm Ann Pearl. You're watching Capital Region Today, and I'm talking right now to Ron Glasser, who is the curator, I would say, and the naturalist of a museum of these wonderful, I'm not going to hold that one up, but if you still got me on camera, please do, because I love this guy. I really do. This is so cool. I mean, I can't imagine what comes out of this. How big
giant
is it?
snail.
How big would it be? Big.
Yeah.
Big. Okay.
Yep.
So if you want to learn more about this, visit Ron, and that's located in Troy. On what street?
3rd Street.
3rd Street in Troy.
3rd Street and Broadway.
And Broadway. It's called Jewels of the Sea. Yeah.
Let me tell you quickly about the card.
Yeah.
I'm working on a project, I call it Tactiles, where I take castings of the shell, this one, top and bottom, and I slice it into a particular pattern, and I've invented a cam mechanism that connects to each slice, so it kind of looks like apple slices.
Oh, okay. Whoops. Oops. Whoops. That's okay. Keep talking. That's okay.
And what it's designed for is people with visual impairments.
Oh, visual impairments.
Our website, which we're redeveloping, will have a species and a number and letter on that species, which people with visual impairments, their screen reader can read. It will coordinate with a page, which these things will be on, in a binder, which will be in Braille.
Okay, and your card isn't in Braille, so that's really cool. Yeah.
So they turn to that page, turn the cam, and the shell comes back together so they can tactily feel what that shell is like.
Amazing. We've been talking with Ron Glasser and Fabulous Jewels of the Sea. Thank you.
Thank you.